been a lot of clearing out done in the tunnel by some of the students here. A lot of things that got out of hand because of the lack of people around. I couldn't cope with it and couldn't cope with it because we had a lot of things to do before the students came back. So we've pulled out some of the the potatoes had finished here. So we harvested a lot of the early potatoes and some of the, it was just earlies in here actually. Just to show you what is still in here, the strawberries are producing huge amounts of strawberries. These are perpetual ones, so they'll produce for the whole season. So they don't have I suppose a short season like some of the others. This is chard just gone in here, and it's a good time to sow some chard because they tend to like cooler weather, and we're coming towards the end of the summer now. So that will mean hopefully that we will be able to harvest the chard over the winter, like the way you would harvest, I suppose, a spinach, but generally eaten raw as part of a salad. The courgettes have produced a lot of fruits, zucchinis these are called, and this is powdery mildew on the courgettes or zucchinis, but it's not a worry really. Yes, it shows the plant is a little bit stressed, but generally the older leaves get powdery mildew regardless. And it doesn't spread to the younger leaves. The younger leaves and the growing tip, the ones that are needed, I suppose, to photosynthesize, remain healthy. And it continues to produce fruit. These ones here, as you can see, have a lot of powdery mildew, but the growing tip again is very, very healthy looking. So I suppose we could keep these plants a little bit better looking, maybe by watering a little bit more, and also the outer leaves that have powdery mildew could be removed. So that would kind of slow down the spread, but as I say, it's not something to worry about with anything in the courgette or cucumber family. The lower older leaves tend to get powdery mildew. This is Sportsmaster Autumn Lawn Feed, and we are going to feed the putting green with it.
This autumn fertiliser is 4-12-12, which suggests that 4 is nitrogen, 12 is phosphorus, and 12 is potassium. If this was a spring and summer fertiliser, it would have high nitrogen. The high potassium and phosphorus in relation to plants, such as ornamental perennials, bedding plants, trees and shrubs, the high potassium would be for flowers and fruits. Of course, we don't want the lawn to flower or fruit, so you have to think that the potassium has another function as well, and it does.
So I've jumped on a couple of days. We fertilised this lawn a couple of days ago. Brian used the broadcast spreader, and you can see the lawn is actually looking better already. Back to the potassium and the use of it in an autumn fertiliser. Potassium is very useful for disease resistance, to make the grass tougher. It also allows the lawn to take up greater quantities of water, and as a result there's a good drought resistance in the lawn as a result. Now you might not think that'd be good at this time of the year, but traditionally the end of August and September it can get dry before it gets wet. Certainly not too dry at the moment. We've had a lot of different weather conditions, But I suppose the things that we want to get from the potassium, the high amount of potassium in the autumn lawn feed, is a resistance against pests and diseases over the winter, and also a hardiness, because if it's not growing so much but we're still playing golf or putting on the pitch or walking on the grass in any situation whatsoever, if it's not going to grow so much, then it needs to be a little bit harder wearing over the winter, the autumn and the winter, because we're not getting new growth to replace the damaged growth from walking on it.
Let's just have a look at this here. We've got total nitrogen 4, we've got total phosphorus is 12, and we've got total potassium oxide is 12. And because we're going towards the autumn, we don't want high nitrogen because we don't want to encourage the grass to grow too much. If we encourage the grass to grow in low temperatures, we will start to get leafy, weak growth, which is more open to disease. This is a broadcast spreader, which suggests, as you might have seen in a previous video, which we might put a link to now, that it throws this way and that way. It broadcasts the fertiliser. We're going to move it onto the concrete, because when you are putting the fertiliser in case there was a spillage, we definitely don't want to have it on the lawn, or certainly not on the putting green. The fertiliser spreader that we're using is new, and we need to work out how much is going to be thrown out per square metre on this putting green. The way to do that is to work out what the area of the putting green is first of all, and because it's not a regular shape, it's not as straightforward as measuring a rectangle, but we can get a good average measurement or ballpark measurement by pacing the site, which I'm going to do now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That's the length. And I'm going to just make a good guess of the width, since there's some wider parts and some less wide parts. Maybe I'll take it from about here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This grill stops fertiliser that has dampened or has any sort of clods in it from going into the fertiliser spreader. It's important when using spreader to make sure that the holes at the bottom are fully closed when you start. Go ahead, Brian.